Captain Elias Marr tightened his gloves as he stepped off the small cargo ship onto the dusty, ruined surface of Thalora 9. The air was thin, the sky a dull orange, and the wind carried the smell of ash and decay. He had been sent to this planet for supplies, food, water, and anything that could be salvaged from the abandoned colonies. But even after traveling across countless star systems, Elias never expected what he was about to find. As he walked through, the crumbled remains of buildings, the soft sound of a whimper caught his attention. He froze, scanning the ruins carefully. In the shadow of a broken wall, a small figure shivered, barely moving. It was a child, small, thin, with large, dark eyes that reflected both fear and exhaustion. Its skin was pale with patches of dirt, and it had no visible clothing to protect it from the harsh environment. Elias's heart ached at the sight. Slowly, he knelt at a safe distance. "Hey there," he said gently, trying not to scare the child. "I'm not here to hurt you." The child tilted its head, its eyes widening. It made a soft musical click. Elias frowned. He didn't understand the language, but the tone sounded sad, almost pleading. Elias reached into his backpack and pulled out a small packet of nutrient bars. "Here. This will help." He set it on the ground, keeping his hands visible so the child could see he meant no harm. The child stared at the food, hesitant, then slowly crawled toward it. Elias held his breath. The alien's movements were cautious, as if it had been hurt before. Finally, it picked up a piece of the bar and tasted it. Its large eyes lit up, and a series of soft clicks and hums escaped its lips. Elias smiled. "Good. Eat. You need it." The child continued eating, and Elias watched quietly. There was something in the way it looked at him, something like trust. He had dealt with aliens before, but nothing had ever felt this personal, this fragile. As he sat down beside the child, Elias noticed scars on its arms and legs. The signs of suffering were clear. Someone had hurt this child, or maybe the destruction of its home had caused all this pain. Either way, Elias felt a growing determination to protect it. Hours passed as he gave the child food and water, and it gradually relaxed. It even let Elias touch its small hand, a simple gesture that spoke volumes. He whispered to it in soft tones, "You're safe now. No one will hurt you while I'm here." Just as he was beginning to feel some hope, a faint rumble shook the ground. Elias tensed. He looked up and saw movement on the horizon, massive shapes flying in the sky, faster than any transport he had ever seen. Shadows danced across the ruined buildings, and his heart raced. The child looked up as well, sensing the change in the atmosphere. It clutched at Elias's arm, its tiny fingers trembling. Elias realized that whoever or whatever was approaching would not be friendly. "Stay close," he whispered, pulling the child behind a collapsed wall. Through the gaps, he could see sleek ships descending, their hulls glinting like dark mirrors in the dim light. They were not from the neighboring colonies. Their markings were foreign, unfamiliar, and ominous. Elias's mind raced. He had no weapons, only his wits and a small energy sidearm tucked in his belt. But more importantly, he had the child. He couldn't leave it behind. The first group of figures landed near the edge of the ruins. They were tall, armored, and moved with precision. Elias observed them carefully. They were soldiers, or something similar, and their attention was focused on the city, scanning the ruins. He swallowed hard and whispered to the child, "Don't make a sound." The child pressed closer, its warmth a small comfort against the cold fear of the moment. Elias realized that his choices now mattered more than ever, not just for him, but for this small, fragile life. Minutes felt like hours as the soldiers moved closer. Elias needed a plan, and fast. His mind raced over the possibilities. Hide and hope they leave, or try to sneak away to the ship. Either way, he couldn't risk drawing attention. Then, a sound, a faint whine, echoed across the ruins. The child had made it. Elias's heart sank. He whispered harshly, Quiet. Shh. The child pressed its face against him, as if understanding the urgency. Elias made a decision. Slowly, carefully, he rose and picked up the child, holding it gently in his arms. "Come on," he murmured. "We're leaving. Just stay with me." He moved silently through the shadows, using the ruined walls for cover. Every step was calculated, every movement cautious. The alien soldiers scanned the area, their sensors sweeping, but Elias's human unpredictability worked in his favor. They did not notice him immediately. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Elias reached a small alley that led to the outskirts of the ruined city. The cargo ship's lights were faintly visible in the distance. Relief surged through him. Almost there, almost safe. But then one of the soldiers stopped abruptly, raising a scanning device that pulsed with light. Elias froze. The device scanned the alley. He held the child closer, heart pounding. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the soldier lowered the device. Elias exhaled slowly. Luck, and maybe human intuition, had kept them hidden. As he finally reached the ship and secured the child inside, Elias looked down at its wide eyes. It stared up at him, a mix of fear and awe. He smiled softly. "Safe. For now. I promise." Elias knew, though, that this was only the beginning. The child's mother might come searching, and if she did, the galaxy itself could tremble. But for the moment, all that mattered was the small life cradled in his arms, and the human heart that had chosen to protect it. Captain Elias Marr barely had time to breathe before the sky above Thalora 9 darkened with immense shadow. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through the cargo ship's hull and rattling loose debris across the ruins. Elias looked up and froze. A ship unlike anything he had ever seen descended. It was enormous, sleek, and alive with flowing patterns of light along its metallic surface. Its shape was organic, almost like a living creature rather than a machine. The humans in the galaxy had many spacecraft, but this was different. It radiated power. From the ship's open hatch, a figure emerged. Tall, elegant, and commanding, the alien stepped onto the planet's surface. Her presence alone seemed to bend the air around her. Elias instinctively shielded the child, though he knew instinctively this alien was aware of their hiding. The child stirred, making small clicking sounds, and turned toward the figure. Elias's heart raced. The alien's eyes, bright, luminous, and filled with authority, locked on the child. Elias could feel her gaze pierce him, as if assessing every decision he had made. "Mother," the child whispered, almost a soundless word, yet full of recognition and relief. The alien queen's expression softened for a brief moment and then hardened again. She moved with a grace that made Elias's every thought freeze. She stopped a few meters away, her eyes now fixed on Elias. "You took my child," she said, her voice like music and thunder combined. It was clear she was powerful, and yet there was curiosity in her tone. Elias swallowed and held the child tighter. I saw her starving," he said carefully. "I couldn't leave her alone. I only wanted to help." The queen tilted her head, studying him. Elias felt as if every secret, every thought he had was visible to her, but then unexpectedly she knelt to meet the child's gaze. "You," she murmured in clicks and hums that Elias couldn't understand. The child responded immediately, leaning toward her. The two communicated in a language that was alien, musical, and fast. Elias couldn't follow the words, but the tone was warm, almost joyful. The queen stood and turned back to Elias. "You are human." Her voice was calm now, yet it carried a weight that made Elias instinctively bow his head. "Yes," he said. "I am, and I mean no harm. I only wanted to save her." For a long moment, she was silent. Then she moved closer, her towering form, imposing yet not threatening. "Humans are unpredictable," she said finally. "I did not expect mercy from your kind. Many fear you. Many think you only take, but you gave." Elias's chest tightened. He was not used to praise from anyone, especially not a being so formidable. But the Queen's words carried more than approval. They carried recognition. "You have shown courage," she continued, "and compassion. Two things many in this galaxy lack. But you must know, your choices have consequences. My people, we are hunted. And now, by saving my child, you have made yourself part of our story." Elias frowned. Hunted? By whom? She glanced at the horizon, where dark ships lingered like vultures. A coalition of worlds, united against us. They fear our strength, our knowledge, our future, and now they will want you too. The child, sensing the tension, clung to Elias. The Queen's eyes softened as she looked at both of them. "But first, you are safe with me. I will not harm you. Your intentions are clear." Elias exhaled slowly, relief washing over him, but his mind raced. He had just saved a child, and now the child's mother, a queen of immense power, had appeared. If anyone could change the balance of the galaxy, it was her. "I need to know," he said carefully. "How can I help? Is there something I can do to keep us all safe?" The Queen studied him for a long time. Then she spoke, her voice calm yet filled with authority. "You're kind. You think with logic, but you act with heart. This combination is rare. I will take you to my ship. There, you will understand the danger. There, you may choose your part in the coming conflict." Elias nodded, careful not to show fear. "I will follow your lead," he said, "if it keeps her safe." He gestured to the child. The Queen's expression softened once more. Shexta, Captain Elias Marr watched the galaxy unfold before him from the Queen's ship. Stars streaked past as they moved through hyperspace, but Elias's thoughts were on the dark fleet that had been watching Thalora 9. The Coalition. They were not ordinary enemies. They were organized, ruthless, and determined to eliminate anyone who opposed them, including the Queen, and now, him. Beside him, Queen Siriel stood silently, her eyes glowing softly as she scanned data streams on a holographic display. Elias studied her. She was unlike any alien he had ever seen, powerful, elegant, and precise, yet capable of understanding him in a way that few others could. "They will not stop," she said finally. Her voice was calm, but her tone carried warning. "They will try to take my child again. And this time, they will not hesitate to destroy anything in their way." Elias nodded. "Then we stop them first." Siriel studied him for a moment, her piercing eyes searching for doubt. Finding none, she allowed a small smile. "Humans are strange. You think in ways we do not. Perhaps this unpredictability will be useful." Elias felt a flicker of pride. Human ingenuity had kept him alive through countless dangerous missions. He hoped it would be enough against the Coalition. The Queen guided Elias to the tactical room, where the ship's intelligence officers displayed a map of the surrounding sectors. Red blips moved aggressively, representing Coalition fleets converging on Thalora 9 and the Queen's people. "We cannot face them head-on," Siriel explained. "They outnumber us by hundreds, but you, human, may have ideas we have not considered." Elias leaned closer to the display. His mind raced, analyzing the fleet formations, their speed, and their apparent communication patterns. "If we split their attention," he said slowly, "we could make them fight among themselves. Use misdirection and traps. Your ships have power, but humans think in ways the Coalition won't expect." Siriel's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Elias pointed at the map. "We draw them into narrow sectors of space, asteroid fields, abandoned stations, or gravity wells. Your ship's strength can handle the obstacles, but their rigid formation will suffer. Then we strike with precision." Siriel's lips curved into a faint, approving smile. "Unpredictable. Clever. Very well, human. We will follow your plan." The crew moved quickly, executing Elias's ideas with efficiency. He directed small human-inspired squads aboard boarding ships while Serial coordinated the main fleet. Together they combined raw alien power with human tactical creativity. Soon the coalition arrived, confident in their superior numbers. Their sleek black ships moved in perfect formation, weapons ready. But Elias's strategy worked. He had anticipated their moves, forcing them to split and navigate through treacherous sectors. One by one, coalition ships collided with asteroids or ran into carefully set traps. From the Queen's Bridge, Elias watched in awe as Serial's forces struck. Energy beams flashed, shields flared, and the coalition's formations crumbled. But Elias knew this was only the beginning. The coalition's leaders were cunning. They would adapt. Mid-battle, a transmission came through, a warning from a coalition commander. Their voice was cold, mechanical, and unmistakably threatening. "You dare interfere with the coalition? You will pay. Surrender the child or face annihilation." Elias clenched his fists. "Not a chance," he muttered. He looked at Siriel, who nodded slightly. Together, they would protect the child, no matter the cost. The child, sensing tension, stayed close to Elias, making soft clicks. Elias smiled faintly. "Don't worry, little one, we've got this." The child's small hand rested on his arm, giving him courage he hadn't realized he needed. Hours passed as the battle raged. Elias's strategy forced the coalition into chaos, and the aliens began to notice something strange. The humans' unpredictability was changing the fight. Coalition commanders struggled to adapt, frustrated by maneuvers they could not foresee. Serial, impressed by Elias's ingenuity, spoke quietly beside him. "Your kind, unpredictable indeed. I had underestimated humans. You do not fight like any species I have encountered. You think, adapt, and act with a heart that guides your logic." Elias felt warmth at her words but focused on the battle. "We're not done yet," he said. "We need to make sure they can't regroup." He suggested a bold move, sending a decoy fleet through a narrow canyon of asteroids while the main ships attacked from the flanks. The coalition took the bait, chasing the decoys blindly. Elias's intuition proved correct. One by one, the pursuing ships collided, were trapped, or forced to retreat. Finally, the coalition's forces began to scatter. Elias breathed a sigh of relief. They had won this skirmish, but the war was far from over. Serial turned to him, eyes glowing with respect. "You have done well, human. Together, we have shown that courage and intelligence can overcome even overwhelming odds. The galaxy must take note." Elias shook his head slightly. "We only survived because we worked together. Humans, aliens, we complement each other. That's how we win." Serial studied him, then nodded. "Indeed. And yet you must be aware, this is only the beginning. The coalition will return, stronger and more determined, and they will try again to take my child." Elias looked at the small sleeping figure in his arms and felt determination ignite. "Then we'll be ready," he said. "We'll protect her, and we'll show them that kindness and courage, humanity, can change the galaxy." Serial placed a hand on his shoulder, a rare gesture of respect and connection. "You are learning. Quickly, human. Perhaps the galaxy underestimated your kind." Elias smiled faintly, watching the stars outside the bridge. He knew the battles ahead would be dangerous, but for the first time, he truly believed that one human could make a difference, not by strength alone, but by heart, courage, and clever thinking. And as the child slept peacefully, unaware of the chaos around her, Elias realized something profound. This small life, saved by a simple act of kindness, was now the center of a galactic struggle. Yet with the right choices and the human spirit guiding them, even the darkest battles could be met with hope. The coalition would return, but so would humanity's courage, intelligence, and compassion. Stronger than Captain, Elias Marr paced the bridge of Queen Serial's ship, his mind racing. The coalition had struck faster than anyone had anticipated. During the night, while the fleet was regrouping, A small strike team had slipped past their defenses, and now the child was gone. Elias's heart clenched. He had promised to protect her. He had failed. Siriel stood beside him, her expression unreadable but her eyes glowing with controlled fury. "They have taken her," she said. "They believe it is a small victory. They are wrong. They have underestimated us, and you, human." Elias shook his head, frustration boiling inside him. "I should have seen it coming. I should have done more." Siriel placed a hand on his arm, a rare gesture of reassurance. "Mistakes happen, Elias, but now is not the time to dwell on them. Now is the time to act." Elias took a deep breath and nodded. He could feel the child's small life weighing on him, urging him to act. "Then we plan a rescue. Fast. Precise. We don't give them a chance to hide her." The Queen led him to the tactical room, where the crew displayed intelligence gathered from coalition communications. The child was being held on a remote station, hidden in a heavily fortified asteroid field. The defenses were sophisticated: energy shields, automated turrets, and patrol drones. Any direct attack would be suicidal. Elias leaned over the map, scanning the paths through the asteroid field. His mind worked like a computer, calculating angles, timing, and possibilities. "We can't go in guns blazing," he said. "We need to be invisible. We need stealth, misdirection, and speed." Siriel nodded slowly. "Your kind thinks differently. Show me." Elias pointed at the asteroid field. "We use the debris to mask our approach. Small teams go in separate directions, drawing their attention. While they chase the decoys, the fastest ship carrying me sneaks in using the shadows of larger asteroids. Shields down, engines silent, nothing detectable. We get in, grab her, and get out before they know what happened." Siriel's eyes gleamed with approval. "Unpredictable. Very well. This will test both your courage and our skill. Are you ready, human?" Elias clenched his fists. "Ready." The plan went into motion. Small ships separated from the main fleet, creating false signatures and drawing the coalition's patrols away. Elias's vessel slipped quietly into the asteroid field, the hull almost blending with the rocky shadows. Every second was tense, every maneuver precise. Inside the station, the child was awake but restrained in a protective energy cage. She clicked and whined softly, sensing something was wrong. The coalition guards monitored the sensors, unaware that the shadows themselves carried their next problem. Elias piloted the ship closer, navigating narrow gaps between asteroids with incredible precision. His human instincts, his understanding of timing and space allowed him to move where machines and rigid coalition tactics failed. Finally, he reached the station. Using the ship's energy beams, he carefully disabled the security locks. The child's cage opened with a soft hum, and she blinked at him, recognition lighting her dark eyes. "It's okay," Elias whispered, holding out his arms. "I'm here. You're safe now." The child scrambled into his arms, pressing close. Elias felt a surge of relief and determination. They were not done yet. As they moved toward the exit, alarms blared. The coalition had noticed the intrusion. Guards poured into the corridors, energy weapons raised. The galaxy was changing. Captain Elias Marr could feel it even from the bridge of Queen Siriel's ship. News of the rescue, the daring act of a human saving a starving alien child, had spread like wildfire. Systems that once ignored humans now whispered their names with cautious respect. Allies appeared where there had been none, and the coalition, once confident, now moved with hesitation. Elias stood beside Siriel, who gazed out at the stars with an intensity that seemed to pierce the darkness itself. "They are talking about you," she said, her voice calm but firm. "About humanity, about your courage. They did not expect it." Elias shook his head. "I didn't do this for fame. I did it because it was right. That's what humans do. We protect. We help. We fight when necessary." Siriel studied him, her expression thoughtful. "Perhaps That is why your kind survives even when the odds are against you. You have heart, and you think. That combination is rare. The child sat quietly at Cyriel's feet, clicking softly, occasionally glancing at Elias. Though small, she radiated a sense of hope and resilience. She had become a symbol, not just for her people, but for all who needed courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Elias turned back to the hollow map of nearby sectors. Red dots moved cautiously, representing coalition fleets that once would have advanced without hesitation. But now there was fear. Hesitation. Awareness that humans and their alien allies could strike in ways they could not predict. "We need to strike before they recover," Elias said. "If we wait too long, they'll rebuild and come back stronger. We need to show the galaxy that compassion and courage are forces to be reckoned with." Cyriel nodded. "Agreed. But we must also protect our people. This is not a simple battle. It is a test of alliances, strategy, and willpower. You, human, will help shape this test." Together they devised a plan. Small, targeted attacks would disrupt coalition supply lines, showing both humans and allies that even a small, clever force could defeat a larger, rigid enemy. Elias's ideas relied on unpredictability, improvisation, and speed, things that humans excelled at. Cyriel's forces provided raw power and knowledge of the galaxy's hidden routes. The first mission was simple: intercept a coalition transport carrying weapons and supplies. Elias led a small team, moving through asteroid belts and using narrow gravity wells to avoid detection. The coalition fleet was confident they could not be challenged, but Elias's human thinking proved otherwise. With careful timing, they disabled the transport's engines, forcing it to drift harmlessly into a nearby gas giant's orbit. Coalition pilots scrambled in confusion. They had never considered that a small, determined force could outsmart them in such a precise manner. Back on Cyriel's ship, the child watched Elias with curiosity, clicking softly as if understanding his actions. He smiled at her, feeling a warmth that went beyond duty. Every life they protected, every risk they took, strengthened the bond between humans and aliens. The coalition, humiliated by these losses, convened an emergency council. Elias observed the communications, noting their frustration and fear. They underestimated humans, they always did, and that mistake was their weakness. Word of these small victories spread quickly. Systems that once followed the coalition out of fear began to question their authority. Some even sent messages of support to Elias and Cyriel. The galaxy was waking up to the idea that courage, intelligence, and morality could challenge brute force. Cyriel placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. "The galaxy listens now. Your actions inspire others. Humans, you have a power beyond weapons and ships. You have the power to change minds and hearts. That is why you are dangerous and valuable." Elias felt a deep pride, not for himself, but for humanity. One act of kindness, one clever plan had begun a ripple that could reshape the galaxy. But even as the galaxy trembled with hope, danger loomed. Intelligence reports indicated that the coalition's leaders were preparing a massive counterattack. They had gathered fleets from multiple systems, ready to crush any resistance. Their goal was clear: destroy the Queen, take the child, and eliminate the human threat once and for all. Cyriel's eyes darkened as she studied the projections. They will strike soon, and this time they will not underestimate us. We must be ready. Elias nodded. Then we'll prepare. Humans don't back down. We adapt, we fight, and we protect what matters. And we'll do it together. The child clicked softly again, reaching out for Elias. He held her hand and whispered, "We'll keep you safe. I promise." The simplicity of the moment, just a human, a child, and the Queen, reminded him why he fought. Cyriel addressed the crew. "Listen carefully. The coalition believes power alone wins wars, but we will show them that strategy, courage, and compassion are just as strong. And with humans among us, our strength is multiplied. We strike not just with ships, but with the heart of our choices. Elias understood. This was no longer a simple rescue mission or a battle for survival. It was a movement, a symbol, a demonstration, that even in a galaxy ruled by fear and force, intelligence, courage, and humanity could shift the balance. As the Queen's fleet moved into formation, Elias felt a surge of determination. The coalition would come, but they would face something they had never faced before. A united front of aliens and humans, fighting not just for power, but for justice, protection, and hope. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that the child they had saved, the one whose life had sparked this change, was the key. Her survival was more than symbolic. It was proof that even the smallest act of kindness could ripple across the stars. The galaxy was trembling, yes, but it was trembling not from fear alone. It trembled from the power of courage, heart, and human spirit. Elias looked at Siriel, and she nodded. "Are you ready, human?" He straightened, shoulders squared. "Always. Let them come. We'll show them what humans can do." The child clicked happily, sensing the excitement and resolve around her. Elias smiled, knowing that together they would face the coming storm, and that humanity's heart and courage would shine brighter than any fleet, any weapon, or any force the galaxy could muster. The coalition would return. But this time, the galaxy was ready to resist, and humans, unpredictable and brave, were leading the charge. Captain Elias Marr stood on the bridge of Queen Siriel's ship, the weight of the galaxy pressing down on him. The coalition had returned, larger and more determined than ever. Intelligence reports warned of a new threat, a supreme weapon capable of destroying entire worlds in moments. Its arrival would decide the fate of not just the Queen and her people, but the child whose life had sparked hope across the stars. Siriel approached, her eyes glowing with calm authority. "This weapon is unlike anything we have faced. Its power is immense and its creators are clever. But do not forget, human, our strength is not in numbers or weapons alone. Our strength is in our courage, our unity, and your ingenuity." Elias nodded, feeling a surge of determination. Humans had survived impossible odds before. They had adapted, fought, and protected what mattered most. And now, he would prove once more that compassion and clever thinking could shape the galaxy. Supreme weapon appeared on the star charts like a black shadow. Its mass enormous, its energy signatures unlike anything Elias had ever seen. The coalition's fleet surrounded it, confident that no resistance could challenge them. But Elias knew differently. "We strike smart, not hard," he said to Siriel. "We use their expectations against them. They'll think this is a simple assault, but we'll turn it around." Siriel studied him, impressed. "Your human mind, it surprises me every time." "Very well. Explain." Elias pointed at the fleet formations on the holomap. "We split into small groups. I lead a decoy fleet to draw their attention. The main ships, including yours, sneak in from unexpected directions. We target the weapons control systems first, not the ship itself. Once it's disabled, their fleet loses coordination, and we can neutralize them without unnecessary destruction." The Queen nodded. Humans. Cleverness is remarkable. Then let us proceed." The plan was set into motion. Small ships raced toward the coalition fleet, acting as decoys. Their sensors were bright, visible, and tempting. As expected, coalition commanders took the bait, sending waves of ships to intercept. Meanwhile, Elias piloted the main strike craft, carefully navigating through asteroid belts and gravity distortions to remain unseen. Siriel's massive fleet followed, their ships moving with precision and power. Every maneuver was calculated, every second critical. Finally, they reached the supreme weapon. Its design was horrifying in its efficiency: massive energy conduits, rotating arrays, and impenetrable shields. But Elias's human ingenuity had prepared him. Using small energy pulses and careful timing, he identified a weak point in the weapon's control array. "This is it," he whispered to himself. "One shot, one chance." He fired a concentrated energy beam at the precise point, targeting the control systems. The weapon shuddered, sparks flying across its hull. Alarms blared across the Coalition fleet. Confusion spread. The massive weapon, once invincible, began to lose coordination. Siriel's fleet moved in, striking with precision. Coalition ships faltered and collided, unable to respond effectively. Their formations crumbled as the supreme weapon's failure echoed across the battlefield. Elias could hardly believe it. His plan, his human thinking, had turned the tide. The child, safe aboard Siriel's flagship, watched with wide eyes. She clicked so,